All right. We are live coming to you from the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health. My name is Jason Steves, clinical account specialist for Perk Integrative Health. And I'm joined by my co-host, Steve Steves, who is a clinical nutritionist and naturopath. And today we're going to be talking to you about vaccine myths, busting those myths and helping you understand how to protect against infection. Steve, how are you doing today?
Doing really good, Jason. This is a vast topic that needs a lot of attention because, especially what's happening with our children today, and they're trying to force mandate vaccines for profitability, and it's a dangerous world out there when you're dealing with some type of a mystery that's going into your bloodstream, and it really is affecting our life outcomes. So,
Right, right.
why we picked this topic, we really want people to know why.
Yeah, it is a heavy topic. It impacts a lot of people's lives. It can be very, very personal. People can have a lot of emotions about it. So, folks, this is not a light subject. If you're not ready for some heavy, hard-hitting information, you may want to, click away. But if you're ready for some good, healthy, heavy, hard-hitting information that's going to help you and your family be healthy, stick around. We're going to be getting into this subject in detail. But we wanted to remind you that each show we offer a discount opportunity on some of the supplement formulas that we mentioned during the show. So stick around for that. We will share the coupon code with you later in the show, as well as making sure that each Friday we are here at 1:30 Central Standard Time every Friday. We're bringing to you the Prosper Nutrition Show. Last week we had a guest. She shared with us, Natalie, shared with us a lot about her health journey and how she has overcome issues, specifically things related to her liver and gallbladder and some focus, hormonal, mental, emotional type of stuff that she overcame. So check that show out. That's last week's live show on our Prosper Nutrition YouTube channel. And then finally, we've got prospernutrition.com. We've got our 7 proven steps. We'll be talking a little bit about those 7 proven steps today when we're talking about protecting against infection. And you can download those 7 proven steps. It's a little guidebook for free on prospernutrition.com. It's a free download. You'll find the link right there, right when you go to prospernutrition.com. And you'll be able to start learning about how to take care of those 7 proven steps, those 7 proven principles, those areas of life that can really help you and your family grow and prosper in health. So, Steve, this subject of vaccination, there are some myths associated with vaccinations. What would you say? Would you say is the biggest myth associated with vaccination?
That it protects you from whatever they say it's protecting you from, because the vaccine in itself doesn't give a body any kind of protection. The body is completely reliant on its own immune system for protection. The protection comes in the form of antibodies, in the form of neutrophils and basophils and lymphocytes and natural killer cells and cytokines and chemokines, and this massive military of an immune system that our body has made by God for protection for us. It has the ability to deal with whatever comes in, but there's this process that we are obliterating when we vaccinate into our blood. And I like
Yeah.
Tim O'Shea's book. I know you've got
Okay.
a copy there to show everybody.
Yeah.
The Sanctity of Human Blood. Vaccination is not immunization.
Yeah. Well, and that's a question that I think would be good to answer, Steve. You kind of addressed it a little bit. Sorry about that. You addressed it a little bit. I mean, what are vaccinations? Where do they come from? Why are they like, what is the point of them? What is the goal of them? Like, why are they around?
Well, vaccination, or I think the word earlier you were asking me, what's the other word they use?
Immune.
Inoculation.
Oh, yeah.
Inoculation. So when you are inoculated or vaccinated, you're given a attenuated virus or a changed microbe in the hopes that your body will see it and develop immunity towards it. And O'Shea is really good at pointing out how it doesn't work, but most doctors don't know how this immune process even works, and they may not even remember it from medical school when they learned it. And so when they're making recommendations for vaccination, they just don't know what they're recommending.
Right.
Not only that, but many of them, and there's a study that he posts in the back of the book, most doctors, many doctors do not vaccinate their own children for that very purpose. They don't know the outcome, so they're not willing to take the risk. And they've probably seen negative outcomes in their patients, so they avoid it. But there's such pressure on the medical professionals today to do this kind of job, to tell parents that they need to have 40 vaccines or more. That was in 2004. I know it's up to in the 60s now. Before the age of 16, they're trying to mandate into children. And of course, we don't believe in that or follow that. And consequently, healthier individuals exist in our family without all the unusual things that can arise from it. Everything from Parkinson's disease to AFib. Remember 2 weeks ago when we talked about we were debunking the article that we read about fish oil can cause AFib. They did that study over the period of time when COVID happened, and we speculated because it wasn't determined when they classified the people that were in the study if they were truly healthy individuals. Well, that when 3/4 of people have been vaccinated, actually it's 2/3. 2/3 of the people that have been vaccinated are not healthy. Now they can try to bounce back, and if they are doing it aggressively nutritionally to rid their body of the toxic effect of the preservatives and all the agents that are put into the vaccine, then they could be in a healthy state. That's easily referenced by looking at functional nutritional blood work like we do, and fine-tuning and looking at their response to their immune environment, especially through the ELISA test. I know the ELISA, lymphocyte response assay, the ELISA company performs a particular test that measures your sensitivity to the preservatives that are used in vaccines. And preservatives have a long history of causing immune deficits, of actually disrupting immune response, but also neurological function is heavily affected by the preservatives that are in vaccines. So for the very nature of the preservative and the risk there, I wouldn't want that put in my bloodstream. And
yes, yeah,
all the way back to the original vaccines, whether it's an aluminum preservative or whether it's what is it? The other name of the chemical? I was trying to look it up.
Oh, the PEG.
Yeah, the polyethylene glycol, and polysorbate 80, which are used, but they also still use the methylated mercury in a form called thimerosal that's in a lot of standard flu vaccines. And
don't they also use some formaldehyde in some of those?
Yes, formaldehyde is used.
Yeah. Well, Steve, this is really helpful information for people to learn. One of the things that I've noticed that'll happen, and I don't know if you've shared this, with people, or what you share with people who have already vaccinated, for example, their children. They want to take care of their children. They love them very much. They've already vaccinated their children, but they don't want to feel bad about what they've done, but they've obviously probably done it mostly in ignorance, not knowing what they're doing. What is something that you would share with them to encourage them to be okay with the idea of, well, maybe this wasn't the best option, and something, we can change our minds about it? How do you speak
we can
to
change
that?
our mind and then do something not just preventative naturally for the body to not get infected, but also for the body not to suffer from the side effects of the vaccine. I'll
Mhm.
tell you this, I've got multiple stories of parents who bring in their children. And in one case, quite a number of years ago, there was a mother who had a child who had come to us for behavior disorder. And we were just trying to get, I think it was ADHD, hyperactive kid, wasn't focusing really good, or ADD. He just didn't focus well.
Mhm.
So the young boy, he was really like, she called him her gentle Ben. His name was Ben, and he was a really gentle boy. Well, she would run into issues where he would flare up with behavior, but all of that was ironed out with good nutrition, and she made some lifestyle changes, got away from preservatives in their food. And so it's about a year later, and they're going into public school. And so she gets him ready for public school by taking him to the doctor, and the doctor vaccinates him. So she brings him in about the middle of that summer, about a month later, when she'd gone through some serious changes in the boy, his behavior. He would just be sitting there, and all of a sudden, and she brought him into an appointment. He was sitting there calmly, and all of a sudden, he started kicking violently and having a tantrum and screaming and saying, "I hate you, mom. I hate you, mom." And she just broke down and cried. And she goes, "That's what I'm talking about. That just happens. And I don't know what's triggering it." So I asked her to tell me when that she saw this behavior start to happen. I said, "Tell me when." Well, it was right at the end of the school year. Oh, it happened on a Monday, the week after the weekend, from the Friday when I took him to the doctor's office and he got a vaccine.
Mm.
And so she was able to correlate that. Now, she got really busy in doing her research, so much so that she ended up going to Washington, D.C. to try to lobby against vaccines for our nation.
Mm.
That's how convicted she was at the behavior that it did to her child. But getting back to your original question, what did we do? Well, we gave her support for immunity naturally. We gave her support for the young man for detoxifying the chemical effects of the vaccine out of his body. And by the time school started, she said that his behavior was quite remarkable.
Mm.
And even the teachers gave him commendations for his good behavior, and made the
Great.
mother pretty proud, because she was worried that her gentle Ben would never return after
Yeah.
what had happened. But
Right.
the
Yeah.
body can return, especially at a young age. If you act quickly, the
Mhm.
body can return to normal if we can get those chemicals out of the body.
Yeah.
Uh, and so we
Yes.
really want to encourage that today with our detox panel. Detoxification is constantly ongoing, but I do want to give that as a discount today, Jason, if
Right.
you offer
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure because that's kind of the next stage. I wanted to kind of reinforce what you were saying there, is that, if you have either vaccinated yourself or your children, what Steve is sharing with you is that it's not too late for you to find a better way to protect yourself and your family and, be able to, I guess you could say, redeem the time in regard to what's happened in as far as the vaccine and the damage that it may have caused your body has the ability to repair, to recover. You can support the body's ability to detoxify and get rid of any excess chemicals and things, toxins that have been introduced to your body, whether it's been introduced through another route or through vaccination. Your body has the ability to identify those things that are not its own, not useful or not its own tissues, identify them, prepare them for removal, and get them out of the body. And supporting those natural detox processes is what Steve's talking about with our detoxification bundle. Those nutrients are designed to support that process. So that's something you can check out at prospernutrition.com store. We'll get into probably a little bit more into that, but we're encouraging you to keep an open mind and look into this topic. If you have questions, feel free to ask us. We've been talking about this topic for many, many years. I have had children myself they're healthy children who have not been vaccinated, and they're doing very well. They've had checkups, and everything is going very well. So that's another thing that it's good to know is you can raise children healthy and well without having to do all these things. And you can, and we're here to help support you in that, to educate you and to encourage you and to be a support for you in that process. So,
Yeah, Jason, we've lived this out for multiple generations now.
mhm.
And so the study is pretty solid that
Yeah,
we don't do these kinds of crazy things that
right.
if you go back and look at what O'Shea is saying in his book on the history is shocking. The crazy
Mm,
things that were politically pushed. And it just kept happening over and over again, just like what happened with the COVID vaccines. And the COVID vaccines, if you look at some of the companies that were doing vaccines and you look at their stock value from 2019, one particular company went from about $30, no wait, $12 a stock cost to at the peak of the vaccinated season where everybody was going right and left and taking multiple vaccines, 2021, 2 years later, their stock value went to $484. That's a 40-fold increase. Somebody had in the trillions of dollars of profits that went into the pockets of big company and government. Now, mind you, folks, the government pushes a lot of this because 2/3 of all government employees in the United States government in Washington they have family members that work for drug companies, cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters, moms and dads. It's big family up the big pharma, big family. And it's all in Washington, D.C. And that's what makes a lot of our decisions because it is the second largest lobbying for a group in the United States is big pharma. So every doctor that sees their doorway at lunch has got a big pharma representative trying to program their mind to their new drug because the old stuff didn't work and the new stuff won't either, but it's just selling more and bigger and more expensive stuff that is deception according to God's word. We can go into the serious prophecy of Revelation telling us it's witchcraft and that God warned us about it. And that was written over 2,000 years ago by a man who was it, the Nero in the time of Rome tried to kill John by boiling him in oil, and he wouldn't die. So they put him on the island of Patmos, and then God gave him visions of the future. And the Bible is a prophetic book. It knows the future because God wrote it. And that is the only book that knows the future. So I encourage you to read your word every day, even read God's word. It is your word. It is for you. And he will give you fresh rhema and insight and truth of that word that will guide you every day. I spent copious amount of time right here at this desk reading God's word and praying and just knowing how much he loves us, even in the midst of our trials and our foolishness and what we do and what I've done. He will guide your steps, and you won't have to be afraid in the future of because there's going to be something rolling out the doorway from these big pharma companies come this fall. I promise you.
Yeah.
Don't let it scare you. Don't let it shock you. It's just another one of those deceptive fads designed to create fear, anxiety, and provoke you to run for some kind of help that you don't need. So
that's good. Well, Steve, that's really helpful. And I think that with the issues that a lot of these people are facing in regard to this topic, it's important for y'all to know that our immune system, as he was mentioning, is designed to repair, to identify the problem, to remove it, to repair from any damage. And that's what Steve was kind of explaining earlier. So one of the questions I guess would be good to get into, Steve, is can you explain a little bit about like that part of the immune system? Like what if someone's not going to be taking a vaccination, what is it that what part of their immune system is it that deals with viruses, for example, and what can they do to support that?
That's a good point that should be covered, Jason. I know we've covered it on other programs about immunity, but you have two general types of immunity, and one of them is called innate immunity. It just happens automatically. You breathe something in, it's an irritant, you make a bunch of mucus, antibodies are made to try to respond to that irritant. But there's a more complex form of immunity that's called acquired immunity, and it is developed based on the exposure that occurs. So that's your basic preparation for viruses in the body. When there is an invading organism, there's immediate immune communication that occurs. For example, when the minute something hits your mouth, your entire body knows what's there. It communicates it electric through the nervous system, through the immune system, throughout the body immediately. And so the body's immediately developing arsenal, what they call cytotoxic T cells that make cytotoxic chemicals that go and find when this organism does come in. If it gets past a mucus layer of what I breathe in or what I may swallow and eat. Do you remember the story? I know you've heard this story. Dr. Jaffe does. He was the one that told me this story over 30 years ago for the first time about Antoine Béchamp and Louis Pasteur. So they were in a presentation and Louis Pasteur was talking about, he had isolated the cause of cholera and he held it up in a flask and he said, "Gentlemen, in this flask we have the cause of cholera." And immediately Antoine Béchamp stands up and says, "No, no, monsieur, in the flask you merely have the microbe. The cause of the cholera is in the susceptibility of the host," meaning the immune strength, the immune ability to communicate, the immune ability to fight, the immune ability to repair, all of that acquired and innate immunity built up. And he understood the body's ability to do that. Well, Louis Pasteur says, "Well, monsieur, if this is so, you drink the flask." So he hands him the flask of all this isolated microbe from cholera. And Béchamp's like, "Uh-oh, what do I do?" And he had his assistant with him and he took the flask and he goes, "Here, you drink the flask." So he has his assistant drink all the flask of this cholera bacteria. And what happened? The young man didn't get sick. I'm sure he had healthy immunity and it didn't affect him. How many of you went through COVID and didn't get sick? You had healthier immunity. For whatever reason, we have all been through our history, our lifestyle, our exposures, our stressors, if you will, that put that burden on immunity. And we can identify that with that ELISA food and chemical sensitivity test. It tells us these delayed cells, this innate communication onto the acquired immunity in those lymphocytes, those cytotoxic T cells, we can identify those, how those T cells respond, and the lab looks at them individually under a microscope and puts that antigen on the plate and sees how the immune system responds to it in a live blood culture. It's fascinating technology. The ELISA is the only company that does it in this correct manner to give us accurate immune delayed response or acquired immunity. If you want to know your acquired immunity so that you can be protected as you get ready for the fall and into the winter months, do your ELISA test and find out where you're at, that lymphocyte response assay. And basically that's what Béchamp was saying. And that's why Béchamp's assistant didn't get cholera, because his acquired immunity worked. And he got the signal of the cholera bacteria in his mucous membranes of his gut. Most of that was handled in the gut, I'm sure. And the little bit that did leak by and get into the immune system and the bloodstream, the immune system was ready for it and no sickness occurred.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really a great story, Steve. I like that story. You've told me that one. I don't think I ever get bored of that story. It's a good one.
It is. I love it.
And one of the things that I think I think about a lot and I think is good to address is that if you are exposed to an excessive amount of something that's harmful for your body, obviously it's going to harm your body. So for example, if you are exposed to an excessive amount of a chemical that's toxic to your body, let's say it's chlorine, right? It'll kill you. That was used to kill Jews in the Holocaust. So chlorine, though, I think it's used in our body, but it's minute amounts, right? Steve, is that correct? Like there's
Right. Well, actually, a chloride molecule is a
chloride. Yeah.
type of electrolyte, but its conversion to chlorine is toxic. And,
Yes. Okay.
and so
So,
it interferes with goitrogen. It's a goitrogenic effect. That means it's going to cause
yeah.
thyroid depletion. Why do you think so many people have thyroid problems today? Because the goiter effect of
Yeah.
chlorine in our water supply is just poisoning everyone
So I
little by little, and their thyroid function diminishes, and we
right.
have overweight issues. And
Yeah. Yeah. And I give that as an example. And here's another example. Yeah, and this one's kind of funny. So, water, really healthy for you. We need to drink a lot of water. But if you go to the bottom of a pool and you try to drink all that water, you're gonna die. And so there's that's something that is important for us to think about practically as a principle. Is like, of course, if we have too much of something that's harmful to us, it's going to harm us. But the problem comes in is when we start to believe that some microscopic microbe that we happen to get in a little touch uh, with somebody or a hug or a kiss, and then all of a sudden we're sick because we touched them or we kissed them or we hugged them. Like that's where things get off, because that's where the a lot of the problems are trying to be. I mean, it makes sense because a lot of society, we're being deceived about this idea, and all sorts of ideas about, well, it's better for us to not to separate and not be together. Well, there's certain important times for us to separate. If someone is a criminal and murdering other people, they need to be obviously separated. But like,
I wonder what made you think of criminals while we're talking about this whole thing. Okay.
yeah. But yeah, so that's something that I think these concepts are important to think about in regard to this topic, because they play a part in the influencing our thoughts regarding this topic. It's the microbe, a vaccine, a virus. That is something that is not going to, like Steve said, it's not going to cause disease. It is present when there is disease. It's what happens. They are what are called extracellular vesicles. They come from living cells. That's what a virus is. It's not living in itself. So like viruses come, like our cells actually produce extracellular vesicles, or viruses, you could say. Certain bacteria, they produce extracellular vesicles, or some of them being viruses is categorized. This is a topic that I've looked into. Steve, you've looked into. We look deeply into these things, and we understand these a lot more than most people, because most people don't look deeply into it, and that's why we're here. We want to educate you on these topics. So you don't have to be scared of a virus causing you to be sick. What you want to be concerned about is the state of your health of your body, and be concerned about taking care of it every single day. And if you download the 7 proven steps, you can start very easily. It has easy action items that you can start implementing today and seeing the difference in your health. And also taking the opportunity to utilize supplements that are of the best quality. Our supplements are 100% bioavailable. The best you're going to get on the market is about 20%, but the Prosper Nutrition brand is 100% bioavailable. We've done there are trials, research, like what is it? Double-blind, placebo-controlled trials have been done. Studies have been done on these supplements, the small little studies, and they work. And we've been using them. I guess you could say a study that we've done over 30 years is utilizing the formulas for what they're designed for, to help nourish and support the body to be well. So the detoxification bundle, the immune bundle, order those, start using them, and you'll start feeling the difference within days or weeks. And if you have questions, get in touch with us. We want to help you, but there is a way. There is a way for you to be well, to be protected, and the way is to help this body, this temple, to be healthy, to fight, to the immune system, the immune cells of this body, to fight against any issues that are coming against it. God's placed those in our body to do the job. And I don't know, you may have mentioned this, Steve. The way that the medical establishment, pharmaceuticals have learned how to make vaccines and have learned how to make certain things is they learned from how those immune cells work. That's the only way they figured out how to make those things, is they thought, well, the immune cell does this. Why don't we do this to the body in the way that we think could be even better? Well, the reason they thought it would be better is because they could make a bunch of money on it. That's really what it came down to. And so the hard part is you can't make a bunch of money on teaching people how to eat good. You have to be a farmer. You can't make a bunch of money about helping people drink water and exercise. You have to, provide those resources. But yeah, I mean, I kind of went long there, but we want you to be well, and there is a better way. So Steve, one of the things that I'd like to ask you to share a little bit more about is, what are some nutritional components to helping the body to, one, protect the immune system, to protect against viral infections, I guess you could say. And also, what are nutrients that the body can use to help detoxify from chemicals if exposed, for example, with vaccinations? What are some of those specific nutrients involved in those processes?
Well, you could probably just say, go to prospernutrition.com and start from the top, go to the bottom, and everything in there is going to help either detoxify, help with cell communication, help with immune strengthening, immune repair. There's so many nutrients involved because, for example, Liver Protect, when you've got this outside world that causes so much oxidative stress, Liver Protect is a dynamic component of allowing, and it's in our detox plan. So it helps with cell communication. There are many antioxidants that are in there that help immunity, like zinc and selenium are in there. It has some liver supportive mechanisms like milk thistle that repair the liver. A lot of people didn't know they could get liver repair. I had a gentleman on the phone today, was qualifying for insurance, and his recent blood work was the best that they had, and he qualified for the best rate because of the quality of his blood. And we love doing that. But this was one of the formulas that we were using because of its protective effect. And it should be named more than Liver Protect, liver and overall body protection or overall cellular protection. It's quite a advanced formula. You would have to probably purchase about 7 different formulas of their highest quality on the market today to even match this.
Yeah.
So you're getting what's equivalent to about 7 or 8 different high quality antioxidant formulas there.
Yeah. Well, and that speaks to what we're doing. A lot of the supplement industry has followed this idea that you do one nutrient in each product and you just kind of do all the different nutrients when you need them. But the way food works is the way these supplement formulas have been designed. So you have cofactors, you have other nutrients that help the nutrients do their job. So that's why this one does such a great job for the liver, is these cofactors that are all involved in the liver function, helping the liver to be well nourished and protected. So yeah, this is a great one, one of our best formulas that has really done a lot to help transform people's lives.
So detox and protect would be helpful with that. And then,
Hmm.
but when you're dealing with building up immunity for
Hmm.
fighting, we could go back to some of our COVID protocols, for example, vitamin
Hmm.
C max being the foundational nutrient in the immune bundle, actually. And so you've got all these factors here in immune bundle with the cell repair, which is now quercetin repair.
Hmm.
We just haven't changed the picture yet. And of course,
Yeah.
zinc
Hmm.
is enhanced in the enzymatic activity through the quercetin support for getting immunity turned on. Zinc's heavily involved with that. And then, whoa, there you see liver protect in the immune bundle.
Mm.
So that was a great idea. I'm glad somebody thought of that. Um, and magnesium as an alkalizing mineral, diseases and illnesses really thrive in an acidic environment. And so this alkalizing mineral was the mineral that God tried to give the Israelites as he took them out into the desert, and the bitter waters have been studied that were used in that Exodus 15 story.
Hmm.
And the bitter waters that they wouldn't drink, but God declared his name as Jehovah Rapha, the healer. So God has put healing in nature for us, and that's just his nature. He wants us to be restored, repaired, rebuild, redeemed. He's an awesome God for what he
Hmm.
provides for us to get the job done. And he makes us in searching and learning, like the commitment that many of our clients have to watching these videos, they just learn so much. And year after year, you watch their lives and the victorious things that they're living in, less illnesses, they feel better, they're losing weight, they just everything is so positive and uplifting. You know that the nature of God's healing power is working in them. And it's just a joy to be a part of it.
Hmm. It is. It is. So, folks, that what Steve just went through, he talked a lot about nutrients that are in our bundles, our detoxification bundle, our immune bundle, and then, of course, getting your diet balanced. Um, we talk about a lot of these principles in our 7 Proven Steps guidebook. So download that for free at prosperynutrition.com. Get the supplements. And right now, we're going to offer you these supplements that we talked about today, all these immune boosting, detoxification supplements. We're going to offer 10% off on your order. So this is a coupon that's good for one use, one order. It's 10% off, and the code is 62824 show. So it's today's date, 62824 show. You get 10% off your order when you at checkout. You'll enter that code. It says coupon code in the shop when you're checking out, and it'll take 10% off your order. So, Steve, thank you so much for sharing the information you've shared. I think this has been really valuable. Um, Folks, implement this. Don't just think about it, put it into action, and then you'll truly learn. It's not going to harm you to have a better, healthier body. Um, to take nutrients that are from fruit. And you can ask us. I mean, we've got independent third-party testing happening for our supplements. So if that's something that's a question for you, the supplement industry, we know it's a tough industry to really find products that you can trust. We understand that. So if you guys ever have any questions about us, what we're doing with our supplements, our quality, don't feel free to reach out. We're an open book, and we will share with you what's in our supplements. We have full disclosure label. I mean, I don't know how often you share this, Steve. You know this, but our labels, on the label where it says the supplement facts, everything that's in the supplement is actually on the label. And that's not always the case in the supplement industry. There are laws that actually are set up to where supplement companies can put things like fillers, binders, excipients, flowing agents in the supplement, and not, if it's under a certain amount, they don't have to put it on the label. And so we don't do that. We make sure that our supplements work and they don't have any extra things that can burden our bodies more, because we take them. We give them to our children. We give them to our families and friends. We want to be in health, and we want to share that with others, and we want to share it with you. That's why we've started ProsperNutrition.com, and it's been 2 years now, Steve. We started ProsperNutrition.com 2 years ago now, and we're excited for the next 20. Hopefully we'll be able to continue to grow this, and it's we appreciate y'all watching. Y'all are a part of this, so reach out, share with us any questions you have. We love connecting with you. We love answering questions and helping y'all with these health topics. Steve, any final words you want to share with the folks?
I just believe that they're going to prosper and be in health if they just trust the Lord and how He's created them, and that He doesn't want poisons put in their body, whether they're vaccinated in or whether you're eating them in. And the more you commit to that, the promise says in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 20 is that you are called to glorify God in your body. And then all the way in one of my favorite passages, 3 John 2, you can prosper and be in health. And that's, we cling to that every day, and we see it in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Amen. Well, folks, thank you all for watching. Take advantage of that coupon code 62824SHOW. Use that code at checkout. You'll get 10% off your order. And join us next week at 1:30 Central here on the Prosper Nutrition Show. Thank you all for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.